One way to avoid the capital gains is when you sell that rental property is to buy another one and do a 1031 exchange.
Yeah, so 1031 is just as Kevin said, an exchange. So what you're really doing, you're selling one property and buying another. And 1031 basically is the code section, and that code section allows this process of what I'll describe as a tax deferred exchange. So the way it works is you sell property A, and maybe it has a $300,000 gain on it that would normally be subject to taxes. But instead of just selling that property, taking the money and sticking it in your pocket, you basically direct the money to be sent to a purchase escrow, and you buy a new property under a certain rule set. And that can basically transfer the gain from property A over to property B, and you won't actually pay any tax on that gain until you eventually sell property B. One strategy that people use is they just continually kick the can down the road when they feel, hey, the economic conditions are right to sell this property. This is the market's telling me now's the time to sell, but I want to stay in real estate. So now I'm going to buy this other property. Now you have this huge built-in gain on property B, which if you sell that, you're going to pay not only the tax on property B's gain as an isolated thing, you're going to add the other gain to it. So now you've got an even larger gain to deal with. So it's unfortunate, but it's still a viable strategy that you do that until you pass away and you get a step up in basis. So your kids or your surviving spouse don't have to deal with the tax implications of it. It's a bit of a morbid tax planning strategy, but based on our rules that we operate under, that's still viable. But there are very specific rules you have to follow to be able to capture that treatment. Number one of which is you've got to have what they call a qualified intermediary, or just commonly known as a 1031 company, involved in the transaction. And they've got to be involved early in the transaction. The best way to do it is that even if you're just contemplating a 1031 transaction, when you go to open a escrow at a title company, you should inform all parties that you want to do this, even if you're not 100% sure.